Here's where we start for you on all angles at 12 o'clock. Nandipha Magudumana remains behind bars. Her application to have her deportation from Tanzania and her arrest declared unlawful has been dismissed. The senior reporter Silindelo Masikane has been in court for us, and I understand that she is currently with the National Prosecuting Authority to react to today's judgment. Let's take you there live.
Yes, Maseko, we are, of course, outside the Free State High Court, where we are expecting to get reaction from the National Prosecuting Authority that is about to just hold a quick media briefing in terms of what we heard of the judgment from Judge Philip Lobsa, who, of course, has at this point dismissed her application with costs. We are going to bring in the spokesperson of the Free State National Prosecuting Authority, that is Mr. Peladi Shuping, and we're just going to hear from him exactly what the NPA thinks of this particular judgment. We will now bring in Mr. Peladi Shuping, and of course we know that the National Prosecuting Authority is at this stage, has charged Dr. Nandipha with various charging in terms of aiding and abetting Thabo Bester from lawful custody, and of course she was found with Bester in Tanzania, in Arusha to be exact, where they then had to be deported, but according to the Free State High Court, this was not a deportation, but instead an extradition disguised as a deportation. We know that at this hour we have Dr. Nandipha's legal team rushing to Kroonstad to get instructions, and of course to get a sense as to what the way forward is going to be. So let us just bring in the NPA. Mr. Shuping, perhaps give us your take in terms of the NPA's reaction to this judgment.
Well, we welcome the judgment of the High Court that is in favor of the state. What we're hoping is that from now we'll be given enough space so that we can do what is expected of us as prosecutors and investigators to ensure that justice prevails.
There could be a possibility. Well, at this particular stage, we understand Dr. Nandipha Magudumana's lawyers will be consulting with her. They're not ruling out the possibility of an appeal in Dr. Shuping. One of the key aspects of Dr. Nandipha Magudumana's argument was that what happened in Tanzania was not a deportation, but an extradition. And this court has now agreed with that. Your response to that?
Well, we're not going to concern ourselves of anything that's a possibility until such time that there is an appeal. It's only then that we'll respond, because once they appeal, they will bring papers that as prosecutors we will have to respond to. But I think the judgment speaks for itself in that at the end the High Court dismissed the application of the applicant.
Surely it's damning that the court finds that she was right. It was an extradition.
Well, what we welcoming from our side as NPA is that even if there are concerns that were raised by the High Court, but at the end of the day, the decision that was given by the court in terms of the judgment is the decision that the application should be dismissed, and the application was as such dismissed.
Lastly then, Mr. Shuping, in terms of the legal proceedings against Dr. Nandipha in the Magistrates Court, could we possibly see any further charges added? You did, as the NPA, provisionally withdraw the murder charges.
We have said it before in that once there is an investigative process underway, everything is a possibility. There's a possibility of more people being charged, and there are charges. There's a possibility of some charges being added against the accused, but that will depend on the investigation that once it has been finalized.
All right. And there's no concern around whether this judgment will impact what unfolds in the Magistrates Court?
No, definitely not.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, Kaladishu.
All right, that is the spokesperson, Maseko, of the National Prosecuting Authority here in the Free State, giving us the reaction in terms of how the prosecution feels about the outcome and, of course, moving or looking to the proceedings in the Magistrates Court. Let's just take a listen then to that judgment that was delivered a few hours ago, an hour or two ago, by Judge Philip Lobsa, where he says that because Magudumana, in essence, agreed to be brought back to South Africa, that he had no choice but to dismiss her application with cost. Let's take a listen.
In the present case, I have no hesitation in finding that the applicant was well aware at the time of her handing over of the charges that could be levelled against her upon her arrival in South Africa. She nevertheless consented to her removal from Tanzania to South Africa because she wanted to be with her children. At the very least, she had willingly acquiesced to her transportation back to South Africa. Based on the decisions of the Appellate Division in the cases of December and Mahala, to which I have referred and which cases I am bound to follow, I therefore find that the application cannot succeed. I make the following order. The application is dismissed with costs, including the costs of 2 counsel where so employed by respectively the 1st to 3rd respondents and the 6th respondent.
All right, that was senior reporter Silindelo Masikane live for us there outside the Bloemfontein High Court. Let's take you